Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crazy Recommended, the podcast where we recommend queer books, films, TV shows, and more. I'm Kris Bryant, a contemporary romance writer for Bold Strokes Books, and this week I'm recommending a documentary.
And I'm Tara Scott. I review sapphic fiction at the Lesbian Review and Smart Pitches Trashy Books. And this week I am recommending a recently released queer historical romance.
Nice.
All right, Kris, did you get kidnapped in Vegas?
I did not get kidnapped, but I lost my ass. My ass was kicked.
Oh no, what happened?
Yeah, I just lost. I mean,
that's why you were saving up all your money.
I saved up all my money just to throw it away. I just went there and just threw it out and left. So,
but and was it fun?
It was a lot of fun. Spending time with my sister is a lot of fun. And we did that hair massage thing that I was talking about before.
What I'm saying. You said the best way to kidnap you.
Yes. So, but also, here's the thing. So I get there and they're like, they said, take off your clothes from the waist up. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. I thought this is about my hair. So I'm like, okay, I'm down. So I get onto the bed and I wrapped the sheet around me. That's what they do. And the reason why is they didn't want to get my clothes wet, because the hair thing comes, over to your forehead and it's just like not really a shower. It's like a waterfall over your hair. But also it's for an hour. So they do like a deep scalp massage. And then they massage your shoulders, your neck, and your arms. And there's a lot of side boob grazing because, when you're on a bed, things fall and slide. And sometimes they get in the way. And so I was like, But for the most part, it was a very pleasant experience. And my hair felt incredible afterwards. It felt so soft and it smelled so good. And I could go into any casino and leave and my hair would still smell really good. So I liked it. Everybody loved it. We had a really good time. And then we went to an oxygen bar. And while we were getting oxygen, we had acupuncture.
What?
What they will do in Vegas and sell you is anything and everything. So I was like, what's an oxygen bar? And so we're like, I don't know, let's go find out. Basically, it's just oxygen and they have different scents that stimulate different things within you. Like citrus is, gives you it just stimulates you in a positive way. And it gives you, it's uplifting. And then there's lavender to calm you down. And there's all these different scents. And so I'm like, sure, I'll try it. And so then we're sitting there. And then this lady came around, first of all, with a massager and massaged the neck and the back. And then put the little acupuncture, I don't even know what it's called, pads, little acupuncture pads on her back. And
did she put a TENS machine on you?
I don't know what that is.
The TENS machine, they use it in physio or sometimes in chiropractic. And it's these little, kind of little electrodes that get put on and it zaps your muscles.
Yes.
Okay. That's not acupuncture. That's a TENS machine. I thought you meant they were literally going around putting little needles in you. Yeah.
Well, then maybe she said it was like acupuncture. She said something. The word acupuncture came out of her mouth. So
I personally prefer a TENS machine to acupuncture because one time I had acupuncture and the muscle twitched so hard that it bent the needle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Taking it out, that was not nice.
No,
that was a bad day.
No.
So yeah, I much prefer the bzz, bzz of the TENS machine.
Yeah. And it was funny because we'd go like, oh. And so we were joking about our wings were falling off because, the zaps right in the little, So, but so that happened. Vegas happened. We decided we never have to go back if we don't want to.
I don't know if you know this. That's true of every place.
Well, my sister has been really pushing to go to Vegas, even though we have casinos at every street corner here in Kansas City.
Has she been before?
That's not good enough. Oh yeah, my sister's been 1,000 times.
Oh, okay.
But she had forgot. First of all, she lost her ass too, and the food was so expensive.
Yeah,
it was shocking how expensive food is there. So it was more like I'm glad that we had that together because now my sister will leave me alone about going to Vegas, and we can do things here, and we can go on other vacations, other places if we want to go to the beach. We've been to Florida together, we've been to Texas together.
You can come to Canada together.
We could come to Canada together. So, my sister, yeah, she's a mover though. She likes to like hustle and wherever she
Mm,
goes, she like, okay, 1 o'clock we're gonna do this, 3:30 we're gonna do this, 4 o'clock we're gonna do this, and I'm just like, "Meh, whatever, meh, meh, meh."
mhm.
I go with whatever. So when I'm on vacation, I don't really plan. I like to wing things.
Yep.
It always gets me in trouble. It really does. Terrible.
Well, I think there's something to be said for a bit of an in-between approach so that you know what your options are, but then maybe one day you don't really do much of anything. But
I
then
like
another
those
day,
kinds of
maybe you go the
days.
whole day.
My sister goes hard all the time and then she gets sick because she doesn't rest, she doesn't sleep, she doesn't, take care of herself. She's not
Mhm.
drinking enough water, not hydrating, and then she gets home and she gets a cold or something. It always happens. Always happens.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so
I just remember you talking about her getting COVID in Greece
yeah.
and how rough that was.
Yeah.
But that was, I mean, for people who haven't been listening to us since the beginning, that
Right.
wasn't
That was
that
tough.
in
That was
was that in the
terrible.
first, like, 2020 or 2021?
It was the Delta variant, so it was the second wave. So it was in 21, I believe.
Yeah.
It was when they
Mhm.
finally allowed people to start moving about the
Oh,
the
right,
world again.
international travel, yeah.
Right. She's like, "I'm out." And we're like, "Don't do it." And she's like, "I'm okay. I got the COVID shot."
Mm,
Good thing she got it because
it
yeah,
saved her life.
it did.
Mhm.
It did. She was terrible. Like she dropped 30 pounds in 8 days. Like
Holy shit.
I'm wondering, can I do that before GCLS? I guess it's
Not
coming
without
up. But yeah,
consequences.
nope. Yeah,
Not if
it
you
was
wanna hold your
terrible.
head up while you're
I know.
there.
And it was funny because like my phone is on silent except for my family. So if my
Mhm.
family member calls, I know it's something's going on. It always comes
Yeah.
through. And so my sister called me at 5 o'clock in the morning and I just answered it, what's wrong? Because I
Mhm.
knew something was going on. And so yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
Then I had to go tell my sister, or I had to go tell my parents about her, and then we had to like call the embassy, the American embassy, and yeah,
Mhm.
it was a big deal. So anyway,
Mhm.
whew, but I still have a sister and I love her dearly. And even though she made me lose a bunch of money in Vegas,
How dare she?
how dare she? And we talked about it today, and she's like, I don't want to gamble for a while. I'm like, thank you. I don't either.
Yeah, it's
It
for the
was like,
best.
yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
What else has been going on with you?
that's it for me. I mean, I haven't, nothing else is new in my life.
Okay, you have another note here that you wanted to talk about getting your ass kicked by booster
Oh,
shots.
so yeah, that's right. So because of GCLS, that's coming up here in two
Mhm.
weeks, I decided Friday night,
Mhm.
hey, after work, I'm going to go to CVS and get my COVID booster. And while I'm at it, I might as well get the second shingles shot because I need it.
Mhm.
I mean, that sounds right, right? So I go there and I'm like, hey, I don't know if
Yeah.
this is a good idea. I'm sitting out there and I'm like, I don't know if this is a great idea or not. And the nurse is like, it's fine. People can get up to 3 vaccines at once. And I'm
Whoa.
like, okay, this sounds good.
Well,
She
yeah.
gets she gets me
Yep.
in one arm and then she gets me in the other arm and she's
Mhm.
like, take some Tylenol, you'll be fine. I'm like,
Yep.
okay. Because I had the SAS writing sessions number 3 at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Uh-huh.
So
How'd that go for you?
I'm like feeling great. My arm's a little bit sore, and I'm like, both my arms were a little sore, but that's okay because I was like, oh, to be
Mhm.
expected. So I go to bed and I wake up and I'm like, what hit me? Like, what ran over me? Something happened to me. What is going on?
Mhm.
And it was terrible. It was terrible. I was like, I've got to do this writing session. I have to.
Mhm.
So I threw on a hoodie and so I'm like, well,
Yep.
I look about like how I do now. Like, I don't know what's going on up here. I don't even know what this is.
She's touching her hair for the
I'm
people that
touching my
can't
hair.
see what
Like,
she's
I don't even know what's
doing.
happening. So I get on and I'm like, "Hey everybody, how's it going?" And I'm just dying inside. I'm just like, and I explained to them what happened. I said, "Look, if I disappear, it's because I'm taking a nap on my couch." So this is a
Mhm.
1-hour writing session that we do from time to time. And sure enough, like 10 minutes into it, I'm like, I gotta go. So
Yep.
I went and just like sprawled out on the couch and I told Alexa, to wake me up in 20 minutes. I said, set an alarm. So then I jumped back in and finished it. I rallied. And then I said, I'm sorry, but I have to go. We have to stop.
Mhm.
And so after the 1 hour, we stopped. A couple of people talked, and I just said, I have to leave. I said, you guys can
Yeah.
stay here if you want, but I really need to leave. And then I went into the bed, and I did not leave the bed until the next day. So I didn't feel better until probably 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Mm. Yeah, you
So,
just never know sometimes with these. Like, I've had some COVID shots kick my ass and some that were completely fine.
oh, this wasn't COVID. This wasn't the COVID shot that kicked my ass.
Oh, it
It
was the
was the
shingles one?
shingles. Yes.
Mhm.
Everybody said, "Oh yeah, the shingles second shot is terrible." I'm like, "Why didn't anybody
Really?
tell me?" Yeah, every single person who had it said, "Yeah, it's horrible." It's
Well,
always the second
that's
one. Yeah.
good to know because I think I should check. I talk to my aunt every week, and I know she got one recently. I don't know that she's gotten the second one.
It's like they want you to space it out like 3 to 6 months after, or 2 to 3 months or something like that. So it's been like 3 months and I was just like,
Mhm.
"All right, I don't wanna catch it either." It's like because it was a
Hell
petri
no.
dish. So, like, I'm trying to protect everything so that I don't catch
Mhm.
anything, and I've never had chickenpox, so the last thing I want is shingles.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, and you're right, it's good to go get them done before GCLS. I mean, the
Right.
fact that it was a super spreader for 2 different which, like, I don't fault GCLS for that. I mean, I feel like anybody showing up to a conference knows that you're at risk of picking something up,
Right.
but, like, you had your ass kicked, and
Oh, yeah.
there were some people who brought home multiple viruses.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
there
And
was COVID in one of the flus.
if you have it, do not show up. Like
Uh-huh.
that's the logical thing to do. That's the respectable thing to do. I don't care if you haven't seen your friends in a year. Like do not kill
Mhm.
them. Do not give them COVID just for selfish reasons.
Well, and if you're sharing a room with someone who has COVID, even if you are not testing positive, maybe also don't go down to the
Right. Like just don't show up.
Mhm.
Like don't. I just, I love everybody. I want everybody to be healthy. I want everybody to live.
Yes.
But also, like, just be respectful, and it sucks if you have it, but don't come at me. Because 'Cause I'm a hugger and a lover, and I love my friends. Kiss all over them, I hug them.
Mhm.
Like, I am a big giant teddy bear, like, "Come at me, we're gonna hug it out."
Yeah.
But if you have COVID, like, and you know you're sick, like,
Yeah,
some
don't
people
do it.
don't know, but some people knew. And that was actually I think that was one of the things that GCLS said, that some people knew that they had it but still showed up because they hadn't seen their friends in a year.
Listen, Zoom exists.
Exactly. And FOMO exists, I get that, but
It
also
absolutely does.
people die from this.
Mhm. And there are, frankly, a lot of older people in our community who go.
Right. Right.
So and I promise you can FaceTime or Zoom your friends, and I know it's not the same, but, like, I'm not going this year. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Friends are getting voice notes.
Any conversation that you want, I mean, any panel you wanna be at, I'll put you in there.
Ah, yeah.
FaceTime.
Yes. Okay, I gotta look at the, I'll
Yeah.
look at the agenda
I'll
and say,
be
"Chris,
like
please go to this
yeah.
session."
I'll be like, "It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't even gone to bed yet." That's about
They're
how
like, "Are
that's
there
gonna
any
go.
questions?" And Chris holds up the phone, and it's like, "Tara Scott, I have a question, through Chris's FaceTime."
And you probably will, so that's okay. That's
Mm.
alright. I love it.
Mhm, mhm. Alright, so what have you been reading, or are you mostly watching? What's going on?
Well, since I was half dead, this whole weekend, I did a lot of television watching. So, I
Mhm.
watched both seasons of Fubar.
What is that? The name sounds familiar, but I think they're like, is that based off of the movie? Which I also have no idea what it's about, but I know there's a movie called that.
Okay, so it's a series, and it's about, CIA agents, and it's with
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What?
Uh what? Yeah.
Is he acting again?
Yes!
I didn't know that.
Yes, and, Fortune Femster.
I love
and yeah,
her.
and Carrie Ann Moss.
Mhm.
And there's a
Love
little bit of
her.
queerness in it, but it's not enough queerness to make it an official recommendation, but it's funny as
Fair.
fuck. So, FUBAR, it was kind of funny because when I was a kid, we were, my dad was in the military and we were on base and there were some t-shirts that said FUBAR. And my dad's
Mhm.
like, I don't know I go, Dad, what does that mean? He goes, I don't know what that means. And so there was a military guy. He's like, Sir, excuse me. And he goes, can you come here? So my dad goes over to this guy and he whispers in his ear what it means.
Mhm.
And so my dad laughs. And so, of course, I don't know how old I was. Like, I was probably a teenager, young teenager,
Mhm.
13, 14. And I'm like, what does it mean, Dad? What does it mean? And he actually said it. He told me what it
Mhm.
was. So I was really surprised. Good,
Good
good for
for
you,
him.
Dad. Yeah.
I think that's the way.
Yes. Let's see. A new season of Alone Australia started.
Oh, that's the one with the disgusting bugs.
Well, so first of all, I never know when there's gonna. This is why I love DBR. I
Yeah.
never know when a new season is starting
And you don't have to because it's
because
watching for you.
it
See,
is watching. There's the AI thing.
that's where there are some good applications of AI, and that sounds like one of them.
And I just every day I record Jeopardy and I just went to my DVR menu and I saw Alone and Alone Australia. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's new season. So here's the cool thing about Alone
Mhm.
is the funny thing is that everyone thought they were going to Patagonia or northern Canada or somewhere really cold, but instead they went to South Africa. Surprise.
What?
Yes.
That is a surprise.
So instead of like extreme cold, they're dealing with many other issues like heat, no good source of water, scorpions, animals that will either kill you or steal your
Mhm.
supplies or your food, and they're baboons. And side note, like no
You're
to
gonna be fucked.
monkeys and no to clowns. Like those are my no's. And like the
Mhm.
baboons are yelling at them from the mountains or from the hills, where they're like screeching at them. And I'm like, hmm, no,
Mm-mm.
no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
Mm-mm.
But there's a big swing in temperatures. Like it's super hot during the day, but it's like an 80-degree temperature at night drop. I mean, it's extreme.
Whoa.
Yeah. One of the contestants, I looked at her, I was like, yeah, no, she's not gonna last. I don't even know where she's from. But she bow killed. I guess I can say bow killed with bow and arrow
Okay.
a warthog on the first day. She got a
Whoa.
warthog.
Whoa.
She's in her little area and like they don't have trees. There are no trees. Like your source of protection are like bushes. You have to like cut up bushes to survive. Bushes and rocks. That's it. That's all you have. No trees.
So how are they setting up they're using that for their tarps?
Yeah, they're using like
Oof.
branches and stuff. Yeah, it's terrible. It's
That is
terrible.
rough.
Yeah. So, and it was cute because she's like, "Hey, it's no big deal. I'm just hanging out in South Africa eating a warthog."
Oh, sure. As you
Yeah,
do.
I mean, it was just
No big
hilarious. She made
deal.
me laugh. Like, I looked at her from the beginning. I was like, "Yeah, she's not gonna last," because she was like real, I don't know, like real nonchalant, like it's no big deal. Oh yeah, no, I hunt all the time. Blah blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, she's not gonna last." But like, she gets this warthog day one, and she's sitting there. She has like 70 pounds of jerky, just like in the sun heating
Oh
up,
my
and
goodness.
yeah, so she's set, and she's actually very smart. She has impressed me the most so far out of
Oh,
everybody. It's only
good.
been an episode or two, so we're not in there deep enough. But
Yeah.
another thing, the second to the last thing I want to talk about is
Mhm.
a documentary that I watched. It was one of those where we were going to bed,
Mhm.
and somehow, I don't know how, but the documentary My Mom Jane was on. I missed the beginning, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I couldn't stop watching. Like, instead of going to bed at like 11, like we stayed up and watched the whole thing until like 12:30.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it is My Mom Jane is about, oh, I have such a hard time with her last name.
Mariska Hargitay.
Yes, thank you. I have the hardest
Yeah.
time with her name. So her mom was Jane Mansfield.
Yeah.
I
She was a
guess I
Hollywood
never
actress.
knew it. Yeah, and she was like, one of those pinup girls. It's like
Yeah.
beautiful, Hollywood, sultry, sexy. And she was 3 when her mother died. Her mother
Mhm.
died in a car wreck. And so basically it was Mariska's heart. I'm saying it wrong because I'm thinking of Marisa.
Oh,
That's what's
Marisa
going on.
Callan, who we
Yes, I'm
love,
thinking, yeah, we love her, and I
different
keep thinking that
person.
totally different person. So that's the problem is I'm doing that, and it's
Mhm.
Mariska,
Yes.
Mariska, Mariska,
Yes.
Mariska.
Hargitay. It's
Yes,
okay. She's not gonna know.
she might. You
Sh
never know.
I think she would forgive you
I think she
because
would too, because she's very sweet and very
yeah.
nice. So it was her journey learning about her mom and then finding out. I mean, she knew when she got older in life that her dad wasn't really her dad.
Yeah.
So it was her journey of finding her dad and finding out that she has a whole different, she has siblings.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of like coming to terms because I think she didn't have a really good impression of who her mother was.
Mhm.
Because her mother outwardly dated somebody else while she was married to her dad, to the dad figure in her life.
Mhm.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I gotta check that one out. I don't know if I ever told you this, but, like, when I was in high school, my one of my big hyperfixations was old Hollywood. And
Oh,
so I loved like, what 15-year-old in the 1990s was, like, super into Katharine Hepburn and Cary
right.
Grant and all these people, like, it was just well, a 15-year-old that didn't know that they were neurospicy, I guess. But I used to read old Hollywood biographies too.
Oh, nice.
So, like, I read Lana Turner's autobiography and a bunch
Mm.
of others that I'm not gonna bother to try to remember right now. So, yeah, that sounds super good and something, like, I really wanna check
It
out.
was really good, and it just reminds you, like, don't take your family for granted.
Mhm.
It shows the importance of family and where you come from and where you're headed in life, and it
Yeah.
was just such a feel good, and watching her just come to terms with everything and be very accepting, and I guess kind of brushing away the bad past and accepting the
Mhm.
good past. So
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and I think you'll really enjoy it for sure.
Nice. I'll
Yeah.
definitely check that one out.
And the very last thing we're going to talk about, and I
Mm.
know that it's probably going to be a recommendation because I couldn't wait for this to come out, was the Queer Ultimatum
The Ultimatum, Queer Love Season 2.
season 2.
Messy, messy, messy
Oh my
queers.
goodness. So I was like, well, I was talking to Tara before we started the podcast, and there's a time difference. And so she's like, "Hey, can we push this? Because I really need to watch this episode because something's going on." And so
Yep.
I'm like, "Oh my God,
Yep.
don't say anything because I'm not there yet."
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
because I
It's
did not
so
realize she was watching the Ultimatum Curl Love as well.
oh,
So,
I thought maybe you would have been caught up by
now.
now. So we watched 2 episodes last week.
Mm.
So it's been a while since we've watched a show with our friends, Amanda and Tanya. Amanda, friend of the pod, has been on a few episodes. So we sometimes like we'll just get on the phone and like we'll go on mute while we watch something at the same time as each other. But when this came out, like when the promo for this dropped, Tanya was like, so
Oh,
we're gonna watch this, right? And it was like, oh yes. Yes, we are. So we saw 2 episodes last week. I'm trying to remember if it was Thursday or Friday. And then we had to wait until today. So today is Monday, June 30th, because they had like Pride stuff happening in Toronto all
mhm,
weekend,
mhm.
which was like a fair enough. And so we sat down and I took today off work because tomorrow's a national holiday. And we
Makes
got
sense.
on, and it just went episode 3. We watched 3 episodes. And then at the end of episode 5, there is a thing that happens that if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. There is a confrontation and it cuts, and I was like, and we were all like, no. And I said, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. I'll text Kris. She'll probably be okay with us starting to record a little while later. And that is how much fun this season is. I think is the way. And additionally, the reason I did that was I thought, okay, so yeah, like the first half of the season, because they say they're dropping the second half on July 2nd. So it will be out by the time you're all listening to this. And I was like, okay, so yeah, 6 episodes is probably what it is. I don't know why I
Never.
thought that.
I
It
don't know
turns
why
out
either.
there were 7 episodes. So as soon as we're done recording this, I'm texting Amanda and Tanya to say, last one, because we're doing it tonight.
Well, and then there's going to be the last one. Then there's going to be the reunion show. There's always the reunion
I
show.
Can't wait for the reunion.
I can't wait to get
Oh
caught
my
up
God. Should we explain
because
the
your
premise for
reaction.
anybody who hasn't seen
Yes,
the
let's
first?
do.
So there's like the ultimatum, and then there's the ultimatum queer love. And when it's queer love, it's all sapphic couples. And so in this case, there are six sapphic couples where six women who want to get married are with six women who have said they don't want to be married yet. And so they said, I'm issuing you an ultimatum. So they have to break up. They sort of kind of speed date each other for a week, and then
Right.
they pair off with other people for 3 weeks, and then they'll
They
go
live
back to
together.
they live
Yeah,
together.
they are
Sometimes they
technically
bang,
married. Sometimes they do.
sometimes. And then they're going to go back to their original couples for 3 weeks, and then they decide what they want to do. If they
If
want
they
to
want to,
stay with their
right,
original, if they're going to be engaged to their original partners, if they're going to maybe leave with the trial wife. I did the most aggressive of finger quotes to trial wife because I
right,
think it's so dumb. Or if they're just going to go and be by themselves.
right.
How are you enjoying it so far?
So, baby queers,
Hmm.
I love them. I love them. I
Don't
love
get
their
engaged when you're
confidence. I
25,
know.
though.
Do not get engaged when you're
What are you
25.
doing?
Especially if you've only been with one person in your life.
Even I didn't get engaged at 25, and I was a big time mega Christian at that point.
Right. Like,
So, like, what are we doing? What? What?
and here's, it's funny because when you start, you're like, oh, I'm attracted to this person. I think this person's
Hmm.
attractive. I like this
Hmm.
personality trait. I like what they're doing here. And then by the end of it, like everything has changed. You're like, I can't believe I thought this person was attractive. This person is
Mm.
ugly. They're mean. Like,
In
what
their
was I
soul.
thinking? Yes, their soul was black. There is no heart.
Hmm.
It is a lump of coal.
Hmm.
So it's going to be interesting because I'm kind of curious as to, and I was thinking before we jumped on, and I was
Hmm.
watching, trying to catch up to you. So I was watching the fourth episode, finished that up,
Yeah.
started the fifth, and then I'm wondering, like, who would I be attracted to? Like, who would I date out of all these women, these 12 women? Like, who would I date? And it turns out I like a little piece of each one of them. And I would put them all
Hmm.
together, and that would probably be the perfect person for me.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay, well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
even the
trying to
one
think.
person
I
I
think,
don't care much for, but
who is it?
the annoying person, the one I found annoying in the
Mm,
beginning
is it Marita?
was, yes,
She's very annoying. But then she ended up
yes.
being, I
Not,
thought she was
yeah,
quite sweet in the whole trial wife
exactly.
thing. Because I mean, the
Yeah.
way so this season is kind of similar to the first season in that there's either like really good romantic chemistry with
Hmm.
the trial wife, or there's like amazing best friend chemistry,
Right.
which I think we saw some of that this time too. Or there's no chemistry, like none chemistry, like
Right. And they
that
like
like that
leave.
couple
Yeah.
just like there's none for them because it all went somewhere else or
Hmm.
something.
Right.
And yeah, I think my problem is that most of them are too young. So I look at them and I'm like, "You're a
Yes.
child. Which
Right.
one would you want to be with?" I don't know. I would have babysat them at best. I could have parented a couple of them. Like, bleh.
It's one of those where it's like, I know I would have hooked up with this person and this person and that person, and I would have hated myself, and hated myself. It's one of those where, there's that
Yeah.
confidence that comes across, and you're just like, ooh, I like that. And then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
no, no, I don't.
So I think
No.
Megan is quite sweet. I think she's one of my favorites. And what's interesting with her, she's the top knot girl.
The Lebanese.
The Lebanese girl with the
Yeah.
top. Yes,
Mhm.
I love her, and I'm kind of rooting for her to end up with her trial wife.
Yeah. I
I
do like them as a
really like them
couple.
together.
Right.
Yeah. So I hope they end up being a couple, or that they're just best friends forever and ever if they don't end
Right.
up being a couple.
Hmm.
But there are some people, so there's like Kyle and Bridget. And it's like, does Kyle want to be here? I'm not sure.
No,
I don't think Kyle
Kyle.
wants to be on the show. And
No,
also,
Kyle doesn't.
and I think they should have. So our friends, like we kind of all agree, they should have just they should have had a throuple with Pilar,
Right.
Bridget, and
Hmm.
Kyle, and that would have been lovely.
Right. No, you're right. Because I mean, for sure. Like,
Hmm.
and Bridget, like, I think she handles herself extremely well. She's very
Yes.
like, eloquent, she, like, really de-escalates
Mhm.
situations. I love how when she was talking to AJ, she was like, "I'm not trying to villainize you." Like, she's
Yes.
very, like, just, like, why want her when I need to, face people because she just, like, didn't
Mhm.
stop. She said all the right things. So, like, there's parts of people that out of every single one of them that I
Yep.
found attractive.
Oh, no, there's some characters I would've just like, the whole like, Dana's whole vibe would have
Yeah,
been
that's but you know
not
what?
only a
Like
romantic turnoff, but, like, a friendship turnoff, like, it's and also, to be fair, I want to acknowledge, I don't know this woman. I don't know any of these
right,
people. She might
right. This
actually
is
be quite
right,
sweet in her real life. We know that these shows are highly produced and that the edit is
right,
real. So, but,
right.
like, if she actually is, like, the vibe they give off on the show, that would have been the kind of energy I would always like, I always fled from people with those vibes.
See, and like as a baby queer, I would have been drawn to that. She would have
Mm.
been mistake number 1. Well, not the first one, but I mean, she would have been one of the 3 mistakes for sure.
Okay,
Because she started
who
off
would your other mistakes be?
I thought we weren't gonna
Name
talk
them.
about this. We
Name them.
weren't going to say
Is
anything.
it AJ? Is AJ one of them?
Probably, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Probably. It's that confidence, that
Oh, so
strong
Mel.
mass confidence, yeah.
Yeah, so Mel,
Um,
who ends up with Dana, the trial wife with Dana.
oh gosh, dang it. I can't see. Hold on, I gotta look. I gotta watch now. I gotta look at the cast. Hold on.
I feel like
I
we should have
had the
done a warning about
cast.
there being spoilers, but I
Yeah,
mean,
so
honestly,
cast
by the time
of
this drops,
queer
the other half will be out and people will be all caught up. So,
queer. All right, so let me look this up. So yeah, because I need to look at them. Remember Xander from the first season? Aw.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's why I watched the second one because of Xander. Oh, so AJ and Brittany, like I crushed Brittany big time.
Oh, she's beautiful.
I crushed her big
Like
time.
unreasonably beautiful.
Yeah. It's like, okay, let's get married.
I thought Marie was really cute too.
I'm looking at them now. Pilar, Kyle, and Bridget. Bridget. Hold on, hold on. Mel. Mel. That's who I was thinking about.
Yeah, she would be one
Mel.
of your other
Yes, she
mistakes.
would be the mistake. Mel would be the
Mhm.
mistake. AJ would be the mistake. Marie's
Mhm.
sweet. She's very, very sweet.
Mhm.
I thought Dana was fun. Like from what I've seen so far, she seems kind of fun.
I think she would be fun until she's not.
Yeah, she probably is a lot. I mean, no, I would not date her, but she
Mhm.
seems kind of fun. Megan, yeah, yeah, a
Something I found
mistake.
interesting was that I had no sense of Haley until she starts being with Megan. And then I felt like it was a lot easier to connect with her as a personality. Like it was almost like
Oh
she
yeah, brought it
relaxed and
out.
more of her personality came out. We also, oh my God, Neil and I were cackling at Pilar being the chaos goblin on Bridget's
Oh
shoulder
yeah. Oh
when
my gosh.
about the whole like AJ being a player thing. It was incredible. And she gave the best facial reactions
Hmm.
when everybody's around the table going to be pairing off.
Right.
Every time it cut to Pilar's face, we would cackle. It was the best.
Yeah, I thought Bridget did a
Hmm.
great job of like, talking about the whole AJ situation, bringing it to light.
Fantastic.
You did a great job. I mean,
Fantastic.
perfect. Good for her. I like the quietness of Kyle. Like
Hmm.
very quiet. I kind of like that. So I'm going through all these people now. Mel. Yeah, Mel would have been a mistake. She would have been one
Hmm.
of my mistakes. Megan, for sure. Okay, here we go. Ashley. Here's the deal. I think Ashley's gonna surprise me.
Tell me more.
Well, I didn't know much about her until this episode 5 that I'm on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
'Cause she's with
Yeah.
Bridget, yeah, and so I'm like, "Who is she? Who is she?" I feel like she has so much terrible baggage that I
Yes.
understand that she doesn't show affection and love as some people do, as what people consider normal, and
Yeah.
it's because of her past, and I get that, and I feel like she needs the right person to help heal and move on, and the person
Hmm.
that she's with is
Is
not
not it.
the person, like
Yeah, that
Rita.
was the
Yeah.
one couple that, like, when they showed up and I mean, even, like, the way Mel talked about Marie wasn't the best, but not necessarily the worst, but, like, the way Marita was talking about Ashley, it was like, they need to break up. Like, she
Yeah.
does not want to be with this woman.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It was that I can't see that couple lasting. Like, I really can't.
No.
I can't.
No.
So I think, I don't know. If I had to, who would yeah, Brittany, I'm probably have to, it would be between, oh shit, that's a tough one. It is super tough. I
Oh,
just,
for who you did? Yeah,
yeah,
no.
like, I mean, I like them all for different reasons and I dislike them all for different reasons. So,
Yes.
I mean, that's what these shows are for. You're
Mhm.
to, that's what you do. Sorry. So anyway, we've talked
Yep.
enough about this. We talked enough about me and my shows, and I'm glad that you're watching
Uh-huh.
this with you're ahead of me. So good for you. But what else are
Yeah.
you reading
I
or
know, because
watching?
I'm not typically the one who watches things,
Right.
so to
And you're
like
ahead of me.
I know. It's amazing.
It's
Gotta
killing
keep you
me.
on your toes once in a while. That's how we keep
That's true.
this podcast fresh. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars season 10, the third bracket.
Ooh, yeah.
It was good. It was interesting to see the three queens that went out of the
Hmm.
nine. One of them, her name is Ginger Minge. She's the one that's been on like so many times on so many
Yeah.
drag races. Actually ended up winning on all three of the challenges. So, like, of
Wow.
course, she goes ahead. And Diabetti goes ahead. She won two of the challenges. That makes sense. But the third person who goes ahead did not win any challenge, which I think is very interesting because she got so many points. Because for the brackets, what they did was each week there were the top two queens of the week. They would each get 2 points. And
Okay.
then they would do a lip sync. And then the lip sync you would get, and if you won that, you would get an extra point. So you had the potential to get up to 3 points in a week. And then RuPaul would give each of the queens who did not win 1 point that they had to give away. So the reason Cynthia Lee Fontaine went forward was because
Oh,
so many queens gave her points. And I thought that was
I
fascinating.
like that idea. I like that concept.
Yes, it was very cool. So next week is when they're all going to be brought together and it's going to be super interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. It also seems like it's going to be very, very, I don't know how much time was between when the two phases were done, but I do know that there are two queens who are known to be fat, who they are much thinner in the second part. So
Oh.
it's like long enough that I think Ozempic was able to do its thing, which is like, that is not a criticism at all. It's just like they just look completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious to see if any of them talk about it. I know one of them has been really sort of open about her health journey because she was not well. Like she
Mm.
was really not well, ended up in the hospital. So curious to see where that goes. Okay. I watched a movie last night with the kids
Oh.
and the first time we saw it pop up, my youngest was like, "We should watch this." And I was like, "Maybe." I thought it was a TV show. And then I started to see people all over online, and I mean adults that I respect, talking about how good it was. So I watched K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my goodness.
And yes, it's a kids movie, but like it's actually great. Like if you have
Really?
kids in your life and you want to watch something with them, I thought the writing was good, the character work was good, the music was surprisingly like super catchy. So the idea
Hmm.
it's about this like K-pop group with three girls in it called Huntrix, but it's a continuation of a tradition of there's always these like three demon hunters and they protect the world through music because music does a kind of magic that
Oh,
like
that's kind of
basically
cool. Yeah.
puts a layer of protection over the earth, but it has to be renewed every so often. And so this is where they're going in to renew it. And so the demons think, we know we're finally going to be able to get above the surface. We're going to form a K-pop band. And they send these boys up and it's just really fun. Like it's really, really fun. The animation's pretty good. And actually, so as my youngest and I, we started watching it, and not even 10 minutes in, my oldest wandered in the room and we said, "Well, do you want to watch too?" And they were like, "Yeah." So we put it back to the beginning. And like honestly, watching it with the two of them was
Oh.
wonderful. And like during the big concert scene near the end, like the big sort of climax of it all, One of my kids was, like, standing up and, like, pumping their arms, and, like, they were so into it. It was
Aw.
adorable, and so I really liked K-pop Demon Hunters. I probably would recommend it as an official recommendation, except it's not queer at all. That's the only thing that's missing is that it should be queer, and I'm sure the fanfic community is taking care of that for us, but I don't think
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah, I'm
dive
sure.
in I don't think I'm gonna dive into that fandom. I've also been listening to a book called The AI Con: How to Fight Big Tech's Hype and Create the Future We Want by Emily M. Bender and Alex Hanna. And honestly think it's really good. Like, I know we've talked before, AI is everywhere,
Mhm.
generative AI is everywhere, but it's a good kind of balance and reminder around AI hype and how it's being used for everything like gig work, medicine, social services, journalism, art. I'm listening to a chapter right now, or I just finished a chapter about AI doomers versus AI boosters. Because AI boosters are the people who are like very, very pro AI. But what's interesting is if you look at some of the AI doomers, it's kind of two sides of the same coin. This
Mm,
idea that, in a way, this like, oh no, it's going to threaten everything about humanity. Like that in its own
right.
way is a
Skynet.
type, right? Like it's kind of a propaganda about the power of it and making it seem more powerful than it actually is. So I am nearly done. And I'm really glad I've listened to that one because, yes, I do have to use it for work sometimes, but I think it's also to stay grounded in what's actually happening with the technology. And then I started a book yesterday, Harper Bliss. It's her new book called This Is Who I Am.
Mm,
I got it off of her web store. I'm not sure when it's hitting Amazon. It will at some point. They always do. They all do. But with this one, I was intrigued because I saw both character like one character was in her 40s and the other one was in her 50s. And I was like, great.
nice.
This is I said recently, more books about older
Right, you
characters.
just said this.
Mhm. One of them is Cass. She's the one that's in her 50s. She is a chef, and she's at the head chef at this like small town, just creating kind of like really great food. But
Mhm.
she's in a weird stage because she's hot flashing all the damn time. I don't know if she's in full blown menopause or still perimenopause, but her libido vanished, which is part of why she and her wife split up. She has gained weight. She's not happy with herself. But this like gorgeous woman starts coming to dinner at her restaurant every Friday
Mm,
who's like new to town. And it turns out it's somebody named Estelle. She used to live there, but, and her father moved back there when he retired. He passed away, left her everything. And she's kind of there trying to kind of like working through her grief and figuring the things out. And her deal is that she is asexual. And so she's not looking to date because a lot of people don't really understand, what her needs, her boundaries are. They're kind of, they meet, there's a vibe. I think I'm only about 30% of the way in so far.
mhm.
I have no idea if the asexual rep is good or not, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I'm not a part of that community, I don't feel like that's something that I can speak to. I could definitely speak to it not feeling sexy when you have a hot flash come on out of nowhere.
Or
um,
the weight gain, like, "I
mm,
didn't eat today. How am I 10 pounds heavier?"
mhm,
That's some
mhm.
bullshit. Mm,
Yep, that's a thing. Even if I finished it and really enjoyed it, I don't know if I could recommend it as good representation in that way because I don't not only am I not asexual, but I haven't learned enough about the experience of that to be able to say. I mean, I think if you're inclined to check it out, it's a book that's there. It's pretty easy to get into. I like
okay.
Harper Bliss's books. That's why as long as like
Right.
when a new one comes, I'm like, "Ooh, that premise sounds interesting." I just go buy it right away. Reading I've
Yes,
been
for a
reading
long
Harper
time.
well, okay, here's the thing that's interesting because I can't say this about anybody else. I have been reading Harper Bliss since the only thing she was publishing was short stories on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be back around or before you had your first book.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
I
Yeah,
know.
because you edited my first book,
Mm, mm,
or
mm,
you proofed it or
mm.
something, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yes, you
proofread
did.
I proofread Whirlwind Romance. I'm wondering
Oh.
if it's that one. It's either that one or Missouri Vaughn's book, All Things Rise. I can't remember, and I think
Oh.
the color story was similar on the 2 covers, but one of them I proofread it when I had my second kid. Like, I was
Oh, wow,
it was
yeah.
in the middle of proofreading it when I was like, "Well, I gotta go have this baby now, I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I will
Give me a
finish
couple
this
days.
later." Yeah, and
Good
I
job.
did. I did finish it
Yay.
later. Um, alright, Kris,
Yes.
what is your official recommendation this week?
So my official recommendation is something our good friend Vita posted about on Twitter. Never X, Twitter always. It is called Sally, and it is available on Disney Plus or Hulu at the moment.
Mhm.
Here's the synopsis. Sally explores the life and legacy of astronaut Dr. Sally Ride, who became the first American woman to blast off into space and forever change the course of science exploration and women's empowerment. But as she flew into orbit, Ride faced the challenges of institutional critics and the prejudice of an American public who were skeptical that a woman could do the job of an astronaut. Undeterred, Ride dove headfirst into that struggle, propelled by a determination few could match. Featuring never before seen archival footage. Boy, that sounded
Hmm.
weird.
That's okay.
Yeah. Sally also chronicles the 27-year romance with life partner Tam
Mhm.
O'Shaughnessy, which was kept secret from the public until the day of Ride's death. Like, hello, she's gay?
Mhm.
So, like, it floored me. And it's not breaking news. It came out in 2012, like,
Yeah.
when she passed, that she was with a woman for decades. So, yes, the science stuff was amazing. Like, her brain was powerful and she had this
Mhm.
thirst to be the best at everything. And from the time she was in tennis camp up until the day she flew into outer space. But what intrigued me the most about this was why she kept it a secret for so long,
Tell me more.
right? So she was friends with Billie Jean King because yes,
Famous
famous
lesbian.
lesbian, famous tennis player. So tennis, like, so here's a side note. Sally met Tam when they were like 12 years old at tennis camp. Oh my God, how beautiful is that?
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
I know. So she became friends with Billie Jean. Billie Jean was really pushing to have her become a professional tennis player because she was the best of the best. I mean,
Mhm.
she's very determined, very smart, very just like that person, really driven to be the
Mhm.
best. So she said, no, I'm going to do physics instead. And so she went and did physics. So good for her.
Sure.
But here's why it was kept silent. When it came out that Billie Jean King was a lesbian,
Mhm.
Billie Jean lost everything. She
Yeah.
lost her sponsorships. She lost her friends. She lost her family. She lost everything. She started from scratch. Like, it was terrible. Sally was
Mhm.
like, no fucking thank you. And she told her girlfriend Tam that she was never going to come out. Like, she worked too hard and came too far. So
Mhm.
she actually married another astronaut in her astronaut class, like a guy. And I wish I knew his name. I don't know. But she married him.
Hmm.
Married a man. And so, of course, it threw off the scent. Look, she's married. She's married to a man, a smart man. They flew in space. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
She still maintained her relationship with Tam during this
Mhm.
time. Like, she would tell her husband, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to wherever for the week. Bye. Peace out. And she would get on a plane and she would go to Atlanta and she would hang out with Tam. And then she would come back home. And he never questioned anything, right? Never
What?
questioned anything. She just said, I'm doing this. And he's like, okay. I mean,
Did
you
she
know,
sleep with him? Not that it's
I
really anybody's
mean,
business, but
I would assume, but I mean, it didn't go into like the
yeah,
specifics
yeah, yeah.
about it.
No.
Like,
No,
I
nor
don't know.
no, nor should it. Sorry, it's just one of those like, how did he never
Well, and they have
what?
pictures of them kissing and holding hands and things like that. So I'm
Uh
guessing. I'm guessing, you
yeah,
know.
she was probably able to perform it enough. Did they have
Right.
kids?
No, no
Yeah.
kids. No kids.
That'd probably be hard to have kids. Actually, I would think it would be very hard to have kids as an astronaut who is a woman. Because, like, I listened to the autobiography for Chris Hadfield, who's probably the most or one of the most famous Canadian astronauts of all
Hmm.
time. And one of the themes that was very clear in that book is that the only reason he was able to do it is that he had a wife at home who was willing to take care of everything else in his life. She
Wow.
raised their children, she ran their home, like she did all the things because he wasn't there, like not very often.
Mhm.
I guess I just wonder, like, of the female astronauts, how many of them are able to balance it all?
And how many, like, does it affect your body going to space?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, were
Mhm,
they is that a challenge? Do we I don't know.
mhm.
This is a good question. Look at this avenue we went down. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm very curious about that. But no, she did not have children. So she became the first US or American astronaut, female astronaut. And
Mhm,
when she landed, like she became an overnight sensation. She became like this role model, which is something she did not want to be at all, like at
mhm.
all. And it was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So then when the Challenger blew up, do you remember
Mhm.
that?
No.
1986? Okay. So January 28th, 1986, the Challenger blew up.
I know it was something that, like, they had or is that a myth about kids watching it in classrooms? Because
No, that's true. It was
yeah,
true.
see, I
Here's
don't think it was, true for Canadian kids
Well, let me
because
tell
it
you the
wasn't
story.
our space program.
So, we were watching it. Actually,
Mhm.
I wasn't in my class, but a girl came in and told everybody. So, our chemistry teacher, Kent Kavanaugh, was a finalist for the Teachers in Space program. He was a finalist. He
Oh
was
my
there.
goodness.
He was like second runner up. Yeah.
Holy
I get
shit.
chills. I still get chills talking about it because he was picked and
Yeah.
he went through everything and she still went, of course. But he was one of the finalists. And yeah, that day. And so I remember Jody running into class and she yells, "The space shuttle blew up. The space shuttle blew up." And we like nobody knew what to do or say. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Mhm.
And we were all involved because our teacher was a finalist. And so
Yeah.
they had it brought everywhere, and I don't remember what class I was in. I was like, "Why aren't we watching this?" I don't remember what it was, but I just remember that, like, it was everywhere in my school 'cause, like, everybody was so proud of our teacher getting that far and
Mhm.
being almost selected to fly on this. So she got really involved in the investigation on why did it blow up.
Mhm.
I mean, I remember all of this, even before this. I just remember the whole everything, the O-rings. Everybody was talking about the O-rings, faulty O-rings. And the reason why they were faulty is because they could not be, I don't want to say the word used, but anything below freezing or below 50, I think it's 50 degrees. They couldn't operate fully at full
Mhm.
capacity if it dropped below 50 degrees on takeoff
Mhm.
or whatever it was, because the boosters fall off, boom, before it hits, anyway. And when it launched, it was 37 degrees. And NASA knew this. They knew that the O-rings wouldn't perform because blah, blah, blah. But they're like, let's fly anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, that was, and she grilled them. They showed like interviews of her, like at C-SPAN, like just what about this? And you knew this. What about this? And she was the only one grilling them. At least that's what they showed in the
Mhm.
documentary. I'm sure other people did, but she was like really very
Mhm.
upset by this. She obviously lost a lot of her friends on the flight too, not just, the whole
Well,
teacher in
yeah.
space. And she did not like the way NASA handled it. They lied.
Mhm.
And so she quit.
Wow.
She said, "I'm out." And so then she and Tam, and I think somebody else started the Sally Ride Science that focused on, inspiring youth, especially girls in STEM.
Mhm.
I mean, that was very successful. And, I watching this documentary, like Sally and I would have been best friends, like 100%. We would have
Yeah.
been super friends because I love her no bullshit attitude. Like
Mhm.
if a reporter asked her a question, she's like, "Did you really ask me that?" And she had to like bite her tongue so many times just because
Yeah.
everything was so misogynistic and girls can't do this. And she just like called them out every single time. Like, and she was very calm about it. She wasn't like
Mhm.
belligerent or like, she would just be like, yeah, you don't, I'm not going to answer that. Like, that's a ridiculous question type thing.
Mhm.
So I kind of liked her, let's get back to business and I'm going to do my job and you're going to do your job. And this isn't about me being a woman, you being a man type thing. So I think we would be friends. I
I
think we
love
would be
that.
good friends. So when she passed away, there's Tam had a problem, with like the whole relationship, like let's be open, and she's like, no, we can't. Let's be open. No, we can't. So when Sally was on her deathbed, she told Tam, "You can do anything you want with the obituary. You can say what you want. You can." She goes, "Because it doesn't matter anymore." So in the
Mm,
obituaries, when she outed Sally to the world and outed herself to everybody, and it was kind of cool because Obama gave Tam, well, I guess gave Sally posthumously I think it was Medal of Freedom.
mhm.
Yeah, Medal of Freedom. Did I cry? Of course I did. Of course I cried in this.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I was at that weird stage with Sally Ride when she flew her. I was a kid. So I missed like the whole, I was busy playing and doing other things, you know. I
Mhm,
didn't understand like the struggles that women had in the 70s and 80s. I just didn't understand it. You know, the bra burning and trying to be equals. And so I just never, the only thing I knew about Sally Ride was I remember the Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire." I just
mhm.
remember, "Blah, blah, Sally Ride." I always knew when to yell Sally Ride in the
Yeah,
song, you know?
yeah.
And I knew that she did something in space. I just didn't know what it was until I was much older.
Mhm.
And by then, you know, history has distanced itself so much from that. So it didn't have I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how, like, all this information, I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do with it." But then watching a
Yeah.
see, that's why documentaries are so good because they
They're
take all
the
this
best.
information and they put it in, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they tell you everything you wanted to know about something. You're like, "Thank you. Thank you for making this
Mhm,
documentary." So if you love, like, history and space exploration and lesbians in space and smart lesbians and breaking, you know, the glass ceilings, then this is definitely for you. It's an incredible documentary. I still think about it. I'm probably gonna watch it again. Like I said, Sally and I would have been BFFs. I'm 100% sure of that.
love it.
Yeah, so that is my official recommendation. What about you, Tara? What is yours?
Okay, so mine is called A Rare Find by Joanna
Mm,
Lowell. And I had fun with this one.
mm,
It's cozy, it's lovely. Elfreda Marsden is she wants to be recognized as an archaeologist. Her dad's dad was, but her, of course, as a daughter, she's not taken particularly seriously. She's the eldest daughter.
mhm,
She's helping raise the other kids. Her mother died, I can't remember how many years prior. And her dad is very much like head in the clouds. He just wants to be, I can't remember. I didn't look up the specific lingo for it, but he basically wants to be on like the board of this big archaeology association that has been invented for the purposes of this book. And she's so excited because she's out digging on, I think it's on their land. If it's not on their land, it's on their neighbor's land
mm,
because it used to be all one estate, what was the Marsdens and the Redmaynes. But at one point, and it was the Marsdens who owned it all. But at one point, they needed some money. So they parceled off actually most of the land. They kept their estate. They sold the rest of it. And so it's been very much like friction between the two families ever since.
mm.
And so she's out digging and she finds an amulet and it
Ooh,
proves that there had been a Viking army that had camped on the estate. And she's so excited. She's ready to bring it back to show her dad. She's just like rinsing it off in this little pond. And her childhood nemesis, Georgie Redmayne, bumps into her and it flies out of her hand into the
no!
pond, which is pretty much
No.
exactly what Alfreda did. She's like, how dare, what? What?
Oh,
And because, like,
no.
Georgie's not even supposed to be there. She lives in London. What the hell is she doing back here in the country in this, like, teeny weeny town? And it turns out Georgie's brother has sent her back to, sorry, them. So, okay, we're going to get this out of the way immediately. For with Georgie's friends, Georgie goes by they, them pronouns.
Okay. Mm.
And we'll get into that a little bit more later. So Georgie's not supposed to be there, but their brother was like, I'm going to fucking kill you and sends her because they did, it's not worth getting into the specifics, but basically there was a bit of a scandal in London. And so they needed to go
Ooh.
fuck off to the countryside for a while, go to the country estate. And so, of course, Elfreda is heartbroken because she
Mm.
really wants to prove to her dad, like, look, here is the proof that the Vikings were here. There should be a dig that happens on our property. Let's do it. So she tells him she found it, but when she can't produce it, he thinks that she's lying or silly, like just a silly
Yeah.
girl, all this. And so now, like, she needs new proof because the thing that she wants is to be able to join the Archaeological Society. Keeping in
Mm,
mind, this is a Regency romance. So, of course, this is a time when women's work, any kind of like real intellectual or artistic work of value, credit was going to men all the time. It
right.
wasn't going to women. So, like, her dad was taking credit for a lot of the work that she was doing.
Ah, damn.
I know, he's a dick. But Georgie is bored and wants to, because the thing that Alfredo's really looking for at the end of the day is like, there's supposed to be a hoard of Viking gold somewhere. And so Georgie's like, I will help you find it and you will give me a little bit of money and then I will be able to go pay rent somewhere in London and I can get back to the life that I want to have. And so even though like it's an enemies to lovers for a reason, right?
Mhm.
Like they get on each other's nerves, but also they want to kiss each other on the face. It's and it was really good. Like I said, it takes place in a small town, and so compared to some of the other historical romances I've read over the last year, it's quite different because they've often been in cities.
Ah, right.
And it does feel a little more like a Jane Austen novel because we do see a lot of the neighbors, like we see a lot of the local dynamics. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're just watching this one couple and they're kind of isolated from all these other like it's almost like when there's so many people in a book that takes place in a city, they sort of fade into the background so you can just pay attention to the couple, but this really brings in like all the local dynamics. So, like I said, Georgie doesn't use the word non-binary to describe themselves, which makes sense. It is a pretty new word, but I like the way that it was described. And even in the note at the end, there's like a big historical note. The person who wrote this is a professor, which I thought was kind of cool.
Sweet.
But she outlines how there has been an attempt to find a pronoun, like a genderless singular pronoun, for centuries.
Wow.
If there's been like, it's not inconceivable to think that somebody would want to use a different pronoun for themselves. So they, them just happened to be what it was. But I really loved this bit when Georgie's explaining it to Alfreda and said, sometimes I feel like she is a too tight corset. He is nice for a change, but chokes after a while like a cinched cravat. They is less constricting, comfortable even.
Nice. I like
Right?
that.
And like, I
Yeah.
loved tying it to gendered clothing as well. I thought that
Yes.
was really it's a good kind of smart way to do it. And it's interesting because we see in some ways they both have a lot of freedoms and also don't have a lot of freedoms. So Alfreda can kind of do most of what she wants because her dad is useless. Like he's kind of a shit dad. He's there, but
Yeah, it
like
sounds
he's
like
not
it.
yeah, he's not really present. So she has to work with like the one person they have on staff to take care of like she has these twin little girls and then a younger sister who would be ready to go out and be introduced. Alfreda, I think,
Oh,
is 21. But her sister, in theory, should be going to London to go get introduced on the marriage market. But her dad's not going to do that. But he also won't even like pay to fix the roof that's leaking. Like it's just
oh no.
it's weird. So it's like she has more freedom than say somebody whose parents are deeply invested in getting her married, but she also
That makes
doesn't
sense. Yeah.
have the freedom to do what she wants, which is get recognized as an actual intellectual, somebody who is really trying to contribute to the field of archaeology. And then Georgie truly can do anything that they want out in the country.
Yeah.
And when they turn 25, they're going to access a large inheritance. The
Oh,
property that they're staying on is actually theirs. But until then, their older brother has to okay everything. And so when you think about all the other women at that time, especially the ones that didn't have money,
right.
there wasn't kind of that same kind of freedom. And so I really enjoyed seeing how their relationship shifts and changes and understanding that they each kind of misunderstood each other when they were younger. And as they spend more time together trying to find this Viking horde, which also like it's kind of fun.
Did
um,
they find it? Just nod or shake your head. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Sorry, listeners, you gotta go read it for yourselves. But I really liked seeing the dynamic between them. I liked
Nice.
seeing how they are with all the people around them. And even, at one point, trying to remember which one. I think it's one of Georgie's friends because when they come back to town, or like when they come back to the estate, they bring some friends with them. And so, like I mentioned, the whole marriage market thing, like we don't, because it takes place in a small town, we're not seeing the whole like, oh, you got to go to a ball, and then you got to go walk around the park, and then you got to go to another ball, and then you got to go to some other sporting event or whatever, like all this being seen and whatever. But she points out that, like, yeah, I might have a different relationship to compromise if I had a good fortune. Like, when you have a good fortune, you have options. And so
Right.
I liked the lightness of it, but I also appreciated that there were still these moments that kind of grounded in some of the realities of what other people were having to go through. And it's also really queer. Like, it's such a queer little
Nice.
town, which I think is also, it was done in a way that it's a good reminder that, as much as some people will try to say that being queer is new, it's like, it's not. Our stories just weren't being told or preserved in the same
Right.
way. They've always, we've always been around. It's always been a thing. And that's where the other thing that I really appreciated. Now, I read this I got an advanced review copy for this, as I do, frankly, for most of the books that I talk about on the pod, because I'm a reviewer. I get the, I get to have those. But this one came with a historical note, which I
Love
just
that.
thought was really, really great and helpful, because it talks about some of what's happening during that Regency period. And I really appreciated that, because that's not something that, I mean, I haven't read very many Regency romances. I used to read a ton of them.
Right.
But it
Same.
outright says, it was a volatile transitional period. Slavery in Britain was abolished in 1807, only 4 years before the Regency officially began, and money
Mhm.
continued to flow to those who owned and invested in Caribbean plantations. Napoleonic War happened, and then there was economic depression, harvest failure, population in cities boomed. And so, like, we don't see a lot of those events, but I appreciate that the author acknowledged, yeah, you didn't get to see very much of this except to know that Georgie's brother is off fighting in the Napoleonic Wars, but it's real and it's there, because that is often the problem with some of these, like, oh, there's a duke. How did the duke make all of his money?
Right.
Oh, there is an earl. How did the
Eee.
earl make all of his money? Like,
Yeah.
so I appreciated that it included a note to just explain some of the context around all of this. I thought that was really great. So yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed. It's called A Rare Find by Joanna Lowell. It's out everywhere, and it was a fun one.
Yeah, I think, the historical romances in Regency has they've always like romanticized earls and dukes
Mhm.
and, just because they're rich and good looking but yeah, there's no history attached to it. So we all like keep reading those books because they make us feel things
Yeah.
and so it's good that that's included. I love
Yeah.
that. Cuz
Yeah.
I'm a history buff. I like that kind of stuff.
Well, then you might like this one because it's fun. And
Sounds like it.
Vikings, Viking treasure.
Viking. Right.
Mhm.
And did they ever find the amulet or no? Is it gone forever? Okay. Well, now we know. Well, I know. Now I know. The rest of you have to read the book to find out.
Yes, you do. But you know what is found forever? Their love for each other. It's a romance.
Oh, of
Ayo.
course. It's always gonna have that.
All
Yay.
right. That is all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, and if you know somebody who would want to check out any of the media that we talked about today, please, send them a link or let them know about it. If you want to support us, we have links in our show notes to our coffee.
Ooh. Oh, hey, yeah. And if you want to connect with us, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, we too. And if you want to connect with us on your favorite social media sites, are there any anymore? Who knows? We have
Well,
links for them in the show notes, or you can
yeah.
just you can find us, or you can email us at podcast@queerlyrecommended.com. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.